Hey Internet, Dean here for Gamer Assault Weekly, and this time I'm going to talk to you about Rodea the Sky Soldier. Now let me first point out that when you buy this game, at least in the initial printing of it, you don't just get the Wii U game, you also get a Wii copy. So you actually get two games in one package here, which for the money is a pretty good deal right off the bat. However, it's worth pointing out that only one of them is actually playable. You see, the Wii U version of the game uses the Wii U controller to control it. So when you want to fly, which this game is heavily about, and more on that in a second, you have to hit the jump button, then jump again, then aim to what you want to look at. If it's not on the screen, you move the camera here and aim with this. Then you jump a third time, and then you hit B if you want to do an attack while soaring toward that thing. Also, if you run into a wall while doing this, you will drop, presumably to your death, unless you jump twice more, aim to something new, hit jump again. So there's a lot going on there. On the Wii version, mind you, you take your controller. It doesn't have to be a Zelda Wiimote, but it does help. You point at what you want to fly at, you hit B, and then that's it. Then you fly at said thing. If you crash into something and start to fall, you point at something else and hit B again. So right off the bat, you can tell which one has the control scheme worth playing. In fact, when trying the Wii U version, I died 5 times in the tutorial level and gave up because that was horrible, put in the Wii version, and made it to the 3rd level in my first playthrough before I decided to stop and start writing up the game. So the Wii U version, maybe not unplayable, maybe I just suck. If you want to stick it out more, then possibly it's good. But for the average player, the Wii U version's frustrating and stupid. So for the rest of this, just assume I'm talking about the Wii version. Moving on, the graphics here are actually pretty decent, and the music is also actually quite good. Again, it's for the Wii, so, you know, you don't expect too much as far as graphics, but even so, you're not disappointed. I mean, the game doesn't look terribly blocky or ugly. Everything looks pretty good as you're flying around. You know, there's still a lot of scenery. The levels sometimes feel a little empty. Mostly it's just the platforms that you're flying from one to the next. There's not a lot of, you know, extra scenery along the way. They leave it kind of more open to show that it is, in fact, a sky world. So like I said, it maybe feels a little empty, but I feel like part of that is also intentional. Because the theme of this game is flying and soaring through levels from platform to platform, the space kind of demonstrates how big everything is, how large the sky is, and how easily you maneuver. I feel like they're more setting the stage for the game than they are lazily leaving out most of the level. So it doesn't come across bad. It looks good. Like I said, the music is also pretty decent here. It certainly doesn't grate on you. It sets the tone very well. Not the most memorable thing in the world, but definitely good. Also, it's worth pointing out that this is made by Kujisaka, the guy who was the head of the Sonic team. So he's the man responsible for Sonic the Hedgehog up to that terrible abomination Sonic 2006, as well as the Nights into Dreams series. That's very, very obvious when you play this game, because it looks and feels just like a Nights into Dream game, and when you're dashing into enemies or into gems, coins, whatever they are, the dashing feels exactly like it did in that last Sonic game. So basically, he took everything he learned from his previous games and put them together to make this one. And speaking of, this game was actually originally developed back in, I believe, 2010. It was going to just be released for the Wii. However, close to the end of the game's development cycle, for one reason or another, it was shelved and then eventually canceled, and the project just kind of died. More recently, it was revitalized for the Wii U, and they just decided to include the original game in the package as well. Which, funny side note, this may actually be the last officially licensed game for the Wii. So, if you bought this and got that, hey, kudos to you. Also, the story here is kind of a generic, semi-predictable story. You're a little flying boy robot thing. Think like Astro Boy or just the kid from the Jetsons. Elroy, that's his name. I knew he had a name. Now I know what it is. But pretty much you're that. Elroy's not a robot. Why did I think of him? Anywho, when you're playing this, you play as this little robot boy trying to save Princess Cecilia, who saved your life and presumably gave you a heart. Not presumably, you say that she did. So, and as you're on your quest to save her, you're flying from place to place to place. It's, like I said, kind of generic, but not terrible. It's at least compelling enough to keep you playing. Granted, the gameplay is also part of the compelling thing that keeps you playing, but the story's there. It won't annoy you. While it's not original, it's not necessarily bad, it's just that it's pretty predictable. You can kind of tell where it's going right off the bat. Honestly, it's a lot like any of the Sonics or whatever. You want to defeat the evil guy with all his robot armies, and maybe save things along the way. It's a game you've played 1,000 times. Like I said, this game is mostly about flying, so the mechanics of the game are a bit different than your standard platformer. You still are going from point A to point B in a level with lots of platforms and various obstacles in the way, but because you're not confined to just running and flying, they had to do different things to make the levels more challenging. You can only fly a certain distance, so you can't just aim at the very end of the level and then hit fly and shoot there. You have to go from platform to platform. Also along the way, there's lots of hidden areas and different secrets to find, so it's actually to your benefit to stop and explore a little bit and kind of see what else is there along the way. You don't necessarily have to, but if you're a completionist and you want to see everything get 100% on every level, then you're probably gonna. And overall, that's pretty much the game. There's not a lot to it, it's not overly complicated, there's not even really a lot to say. But it is good. I mean, it's not great, it's not amazing, it's not going to win any awards, but it's not terrible either. If you pick it up, you're going to have a good time with it. It's easy enough to where a kid could play it, but fun enough to where even as an adult, I had a good time playing it. Like I said, I played through the first few levels just in the first sitting, and when I'm done here, I'll probably go back and finish the game. So, it's worth a shot. And again, I was talking about the Wii version. The Wii U version that is actually you know what? When you buy this, the best thing you can do for yourself is take this out, flip it around, stick it back in there, and just always display this as a Wii game. Because the Wii U disc in here is unnecessary and garbage. Don't play the Wii U version. It's just not worth doing that to yourself. And that's all I have to say about this game, both versions of it. If you liked this review, stay tuned. We've got reviews for many, many other games here on Gamersalt Weekly, and if you want to visit our website or any of our social medias, we also have news, articles, pictures, updates, jokes, and every other thing you can think of if it's even semi-related to a video game. Links to all that down there. Likewise, if you enjoyed this review because you just found me incredibly attractive, and I understand if that is what happened, click over here for a link to my channel, where you'll see other videos of other things I've done, mostly retro games, old school kind of stuff, just fun little nifty stuff like that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.